The following is a Spirit Street production. You've discovered your link to the Powercat Podcast, presented by Fridge Wholesale Liquor. It's the Powercat Podcast. And now, let's go to the Spirit Street Studios. Here's your host, Go Powercat publisher, Tim Fitzgerald.
Welcome to the Powercat Podcast. Seems like we've been away for a while. Just 1 week.
Just normal time.
Just 1 week here from the Go Powercat World Headquarters and the home of the WTC Gig-Powered Studios. I am Tim Fitzgerald. That is Riley Gates and Zach Carlson to my left, if you could see us. Which might be possible someday. It's not possible today.
It's probably because we're recording it in the afternoon, not in the morning, and we're not going to go eat high-low for lunch after this. It just, our feng shui is off.
Ooh, I'm going to bleep that out.
I hope I use that word.
Do we have to bleep that out?
Can we say the word again?
Feng shui?
Stop it, man.
Feng shui? I have
dirty.
no clue what that word means.
Could you use it in a sentence? Yes, Zach does not know what feng shui means.
Country of origin?
We are here to talk about Kansas State sports, I think. But we're also sponsored by Fridge Wholesale Liquor. I will be going to the Fridge on Friday morning to pick up the beer. For the open house we're having here at our offices along with WTC on Friday afternoon. If you're in Manhattan or the area, from 4 to 7, we will have an open house. Drop on by. Say hi. Check out our studios. Go stare at Fritchen in his office. Zach's got a great idea. This is one of the greatest ideas ever conceived at GoPowercat.com. Zach, lay it out.
We're going to put a sign on his door that's like a zoo animal. With like the scientific name, like Discadius frictionis.
Do not tap glass.
Do not tap glass.
And then underneath put American sports writer.
Oh, my goodness.
Fritch in my offices have giant glass windows, and so we'll make him leave his open.
Pretty excited to show people the digs.
Yeah, we're almost home. We're just missing a few little details, but we're actually pretty much got it wrapped up at this point. Just a few things to sort out, little odds and ends here. Speaking of odds and ends, we're going to be answering your questions from Wabash Station.
I thought you were going to introduce us again. It was a pretty good opportunity
I know,
to do it.
I almost did. I was like, I'll steer off. Again, we're sponsored by Fridge Wholesale Liquor. This segment's brought to you by Tanner's. If you're in Aggieville, make sure you stop into Tanner's. Great place to watch the Royals, which are on right now here on our studio TV.
For the fourth straight week?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
AL Central Royal Champions. Royal Champions.
AL Central
Champions, your Kansas City Royals, because, they won the first game today, and they're currently winning 3-0 against Tampa Bay. And
they're in last place in the Central?
If they take a doubleheader against Tampa Bay on a Wednesday in May, clearly they are going to win the division. I don't know what you guys are talking about. So
here we go. It's your questions from Wabash Station, and bringing it on is Zach Carlson.
From KSU Cat 80, your best guesses as to which K-Staters make their respective NFL teams.
Dalton's going to make it. I'd almost wager to say Dalton's going to start next year. Because looking at the Broncos depth chart for that analysis I did after he was drafted, they're very thin on the interior offensive line.
You shouldn't have thin offensive linemen. That's a problem right there. You should have fat guys.
It's not good. He'll certainly make the team.
Yeah, he'll start. He will start. He's good. He's good.
They drafted him for a reason.
He's just perfect for the NFL. Much like Cody Whitehair and B.J. Finney, they're adaptable to other positions. If you need him to slide out to guard and he can go to tackle, Whitehair can play all 5 positions, basically.
It is funny because he played center when he got here. Then he moved to tackle, and he's going to play guard in the NFL.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
I think you might see time at center. You've got to have a really good backup center. So, that's just a valuable thing to have. I'm confident he'll make it. I think Duke Shelley's going to have some problems.
He's going to have to prove himself in their special teams.
I was a little surprised by that pick.
Yeah, I was too.
And not just that he was drafted, but where he went. If you look at the Bears roster as you did, It's a little bit. It's almost like they're planning for the future. They don't expect much from him now. He might be a practice squad guy, but they're going to try to get him ready to go.
Duke. They have 2 first-team All-Pro defensive backs on the roster. They have HaHa Clinton-Dix in the secondary.
Why are you laughing at him, man? He seems like a nice guy.
It's a funny name.
Okay.
Look, he's going to have a lot of trouble making. He's certainly not going to play a lot of defense next year.
No, if he's on the active roster, he's going to be a special teams guy and a nickel.
But I hope he makes it. I mean, I think
too.
he can.
We're not rooting against any of these guys.
Yeah.
I hope Alex Barnes makes it. I think he might be a practice squad guy.
I don't think Abdul Beecham. I'll just say I don't think Abdul Beecham's going to make the Bills, or I guess he got an invite to the Chiefs as well, which weird. I guess does that happen a lot?
Well, you can get invited to try out. It's not the
try
same
out with the Chiefs, and he signed a contract with the Bills.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, you can get invited to try out and kind of prove yourself. I don't think Beach will make it. He was barely hanging on to his job at K-State.
I don't think. Yeah, exactly. I don't think Abdul will make it. I think Eli Walker has some potential.
He's a sleeper. Seattle might look at him and think, okay, we're kind of like the K-State thing here. He can hit. He can play a lot of special teams. They might think he's someone they can work with. I don't know.
My worry is he tries to at times he tried to make too big of hits in college, because that was kind of his thing. I'm going to go make the big hit, and it doesn't work. But I would probably put him, in terms of an active 53-man roster, I would probably say that I feel comfortable putting Eli Walker second or third on the list of chances to make the 53.
It's funny. I agree.
Because I don't feel comfortable saying Alex Barnes make the 53.
I'm with you. I think Walker might be the second, Shelley the third, or vice versa.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I would rank them.
Now, look, if you're talking about active roster, that's one thing. I think some guys will make the practice squad, or they'll follow the Elijah Lee course and make someone's practice squad and then get signed off of that into someone's active roster.
Well, that's what I was saying on the radio the other day. We can sit here and look at this, and we're saying almost no chance that a guy like Abdul Beecham makes it, but I didn't really think Elijah Lee was going to stick around the league. Thought he was small, thought he didn't make enough plays, and here he is making a huge impact on the Niners defense. So maybe I'm wrong.
I heard you say that on the radio. It was kind of weird because it was a news show you called into. You just randomly started.
I just want to let you know.
Zach, bring it on.
From Wildcat Pilot 88, with K-State extending their NFL draft streak to 26 years, and Texas only being at 3 years, but always said to have better athletes. What contributes to these streaks?
Luck. Tavon Rooks.
Bryce Brown.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple years where I'm not sure how K-State extended it, but they did. They'll extend it next year. I think Scott France will be drafted.
Look, over the course of a 4-year career, you're going to find somebody that's going to develop. I mean, that's just the odds. If they're playing Division I football at the Big 12 level, they've got the chance to improve to that level. And a lot of that goes to Bill Snyder. Found a guy like Terrence Newman, who ended up being the 4th pick in the NFL draft. And he wasn't even a football guy.
He was, but...
Yeah, whatever.
That was not a good football.
Details.
The track guy that played a little football.
Then you got to credit Ron Prince, Josh Freeman extending the streak.
Do we have to?
Yeah.
Okay, we will.
I don't know if anybody that streak probably dies in 09.
I know.
Or was it 08 draft?
It was the 09 draft.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, that streak probably dies if Ron Prince isn't the head coach and Josh Freeman doesn't come play quarterback at K-State. So, I mean, obviously just a lot of different factors. And at times I was putting together Fritch's story that detailed, the streak and every player that was ever picked and kind of what happened with them. And it's funny, you looked at some years and they had like 4, 5, 6 players. And then in other years they had, like Fitz said, Tavon Rooks, who you looked at that offensive line and you're like, was Tavon Rooks even the best offensive lineman on that line, let alone an NFL draft pick? So that just kind of random years like that. If I really want to get down and make some people mad, you could make a really strong argument that the streak is not really the streak because Bryce Brown counted for that year. He was kicked off the team.
You're wrong.
He was kicked, or he left the team, I should say. He left the team. It was credited to Kansas State because that was the last place he played, and they had to say something.
Well, yeah, that's how it works. Those are the rules. Winston Dimmel. I mean, he didn't get drafted, but he's from UTEP. He's not from K-State.
Had a cup of coffee there. And
but Winston Dimmel was with UTEP for all 12 games and would have played in 12 games had he not hurt himself. He didn't leave the team because he couldn't hack the hardware.
I get your point, but what's interesting is Bryce Brown has said he probably wouldn't be in the NFL without Bill Snyder, which is a very interesting relationship.
Just let me make it clear. I'm not saying that K-State's draft streak doesn't count. I was saying if I wanted to really make people
Is Bryce
mad.
still in the NFL?
No, I'm pretty sure he's done. He was on my fantasy team for a few years.
He likes to party.
Had a few really strong. I love to party.
Love to party.
We have to make our own sound effects now.
Yeah, we're cheap.
From BA Wildcat, who are your picks to be drafted next year to keep the streak alive for 27 straight years?
Thanks for stepping on that question, Fitz.
Well, if I prepared for this, that wouldn't happen, but I have not.
I think my two ones I feel confident is Trey Deshawn and Scott France. I feel like somebody's going to take a chance on them. However, defensive tackle is a tough position to make it at in terms of a draft.
He's not
pick.
big enough.
Yeah. It's tough. And Scott France, I looked at him as a freshman and a sophomore. I was like, dude is going to be an animal, and he's going to shoot up draft boards. And now I look at him and I go, he's a good tackle.
I think he might benefit from a new philosophy and some different teaching and kind of get him off of his off-center. He's kind of been stuck a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I think it'll be good for him. And you don't know. With new coaches, you might find, who knows, James Gilbert might have a huge season.
Yeah.
You just don't know how people are going to be used. What if, hypothetically, Nick Leonard comes out and is healthy and this offense fits him and all of a sudden just erupts into a great tight end that can really run because he can. Does he go early? You just don't know how the season's going to play out. It will be extended.
Sleeper pick, Devin Ankle in the 6th round.
I don't disagree with that.
Dude's going to punt in the NFL. It's a question of if he gets drafted or not.
He has the most explosive leg for a specialist at K-State since Martin Gramatica.
Wow.
The ball explodes off his foot. So if he learns the finer art of punting, pinning people back or whatever, he's going to be picked. He is special. He has a room to be really, really special.
Someone took a punter in the 4th round this year.
That was weird.
I'm blanking on who it was, but somebody took a punter in the 4th round. In fantasy football, you only draft a kicker in your 17, 18 round draft because you're forced, some leagues force you to draft a kicker because you have to draft one of every spot. So that's why, if you didn't have to, nobody would draft kickers. And so what I'm saying here is it's very odd to see someone draft a punter in the NFL.
It's not even a place kicker that can score for you.
Yeah. It's super weird to me. So I was really shocked by that. But I think Devin Ankle, he could be the one to do it. Who knows? Who knows?
Extends the draft.
How wild would that be? Draft streak hits 27 because the punter got picked in the 3rd round.
And then the highlights they show is just him coming out of a year saying that Tom Brady's a system quarterback.
Who tweeted that video?
Oh, that's funny.
From BD Nye, should Alex Barnes have stayed?
Oh, man. This is fun.
I'll let you get your hot take in.
Okay. I want to be very clear. Alex Barnes is going to make money whether he gets cut by the Titans here or not. He is going to receive a check from an NFL team to play a game. And I'm very happy for him. That's great. He's going to make money doing what he loves. But you cannot tell me, there is no question in my mind, and it's a fact, he got bad draft advice. Whoever advised him to go to the NFL draft did not look at him and say, Alex, I think you could be a 5th or 6th round pick. You might even fall to the 7th, and you might go undrafted, and then you might get a free agent contract. No, it didn't happen. They looked at him and they said, I think at best you could sneak into the 3rd or 4th round. Maybe you'll fall into the 5th or 6th, but you're going to get picked. If someone had told him you might not get picked, he'd be at Kansas State today because he'd be trying to improve that draft stock, okay? So don't tell me he didn't get bad draft advice, because he did. He wouldn't have left if he wasn't told he was going to be picked. That's that rant, and you will not change my mind on that.
Well, I'll say this. Maybe it's entirely possible Alex just had convinced himself that he was ready. He was sick of college football. I know he was sick of playing for Bill Snyder. I'm just going to put that out there. He was done. And then the coaching change happened, and I think at that point he was still done. He had convinced himself to move on. Maybe someone got in his ear. Maybe potentially an agent had told his parents, oh, yeah, he's going to go in the third round. You got to be careful with those guys because they're playing the numbers game. They're telling 10 people that, hoping 2 of them are right.
Yeah.
They don't care about you. They care about making money off of you. And if they can maybe get you now instead of before you blow up after your senior year because they won't have a chance, you'll sign with someone more high profile, they'll tell you whatever they need to tell you to get you to do what they want, which is go to the draft. And maybe you'll get drafted. Maybe you'll be a free agent and sign a contract. Maybe you'll end up because a lot of guys that are free agents end up in the league for a long time. You just don't know. Maybe my take on this is the fact that I've kind of changed my thoughts on it. I'm really, and it's kind of the same way with transferring. If Alex felt like it was time to go, if he was done with college, he had his degree, he did not make the wrong decision. I mean, it's his decision. It's none of our decision. It's Alex's decision. He gets to decide what he wants to do with his future. And maybe he made that decision fully knowing that maybe this won't work out, but I got my degree. I don't know. Maybe he was just tired of college, tired of the whole thing, and he's going to go play the NFL if given the opportunity. If not, he'll move on with his life because he's a smart kid. He's a well-spoken kid. He's an impressive young man. He will do fine in life. He's got his degree. That was kind of the point of going to college. And now he's made the decision that he felt was best for him. I do agree with you. I think someone gave him bad advice. And I think he was a gullible recipient of that advice. And it's a damn shame. I think he would have thrived in this offense. He would have had to learn something new. But I think the way they handle running backs, Alex Barnes would have rocked the world in this North Dakota State offense that they run. They're going to run. I think he'd have been great, but he made his decision, and now the consequences, unfortunately, are he's a free agent, and his chances of making a roster went way down.
Well, and for the reasons you said, that's why I don't want to sit here and say he should have come back, he shouldn't have come back, he made a bad decision, he made a good decision. Because, like you said, it's his call. Like I said, he's going to make money to play football, so I'm happy for him. But just strictly in terms of looking at this as where he could have been drafted, I think he most certainly would have been drafted next year if he did come back. He wouldn't have beaten his combine numbers. I'll give that to the people that are arguing against me that it's very tough to beat everything he did at the combine. He was probably arguably the best running back at the combine in terms of complete drills. But another year of college would have helped his stock. So, again, happy for him, but that's just where I stand on it.
And then again, I think if he stayed healthy, he would have been drafted. But
yeah.
You never know. Just never know.
From Adam K63, with the low percentage of early NFL draft entries getting drafted, would you think that would discourage more from leaving college early?
You are asking if youth will find wisdom.
My
answer is no.
22-year-old, I can confirm no.
No, I mean, young football players have been, when you're Alex Barnes or anyone else that is coming out, for the most part, you've been a dominant football player your whole life. Whether you played, full contact at age 7 or flag football, you went into junior high and high school, you went to a combine or a camp, and you went into college. You've been an ass kicker your entire life. So that's how you see yourself. That's the only way you perceive yourself. And so, of course, you believe you're going to go kick ass in the NFL. It doesn't work out that way all the time, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's tough for that reason. A guy like Emmanuel Hall from Missouri, he was drafted by all accounts. Some people thought he was going in the second or third round, and then he didn't get picked. So it's so tough to look at, a running back that comes in here next year. I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but somebody that could have a really good year, could try to debate, whether I should go, whether I should stay, and then I go, well, Alex Barnes from Kansas State didn't get drafted, so maybe I shouldn't go. They're not the same thing. Every single case is different, and every single team is different. One team might feel you're a fourth-round pick. One team might feel you're an undrafted free agent. It's so tough, and I don't think it's fair to you. I don't think it's fair to the other player. I don't think it's fair to the NFL system to base your case off of another person.
You know, the NFL's weird. They'll pass on a guy because people said he's a bad person in the locker room, and then in the third-round draft, an axe murderer. Now, I only killed 4 members of a family, not 6, so they still take him. But this guy has a bad attitude, so we're not going to take him. I can't figure out the NFL, but it's just a weird business. But if you're good, at the end of the day, you're going to make a team.
Last question of the first half from Purple Poncho Villa. The Big 12 in the draft. Oklahoma had 8 players taken, West Virginia 5, TCU 3, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, K-State, and Texas had 2. Texas Tech and Baylor each had 1, and it was the 4th overall conference-wise. What is the biggest surprise from the draft from the conference? His would be West Virginia with 5 players drafted.
Why they're not unhappy Dana Holgorsen left. They had talent.
Yeah.
They just didn't do much with it over the years. They've had a lot of talent at West Virginia. Those numbers don't surprise me in any way. It follows exactly what we saw in the conference. Oklahoma's the best team. Everyone else is kind of in the middle. And what the hell's West Virginia doing? Shouldn't they be contending for the conference? And they're not.
That one really leaves you scratching your head. Non-Big 12 wise, I know that's away from the question, but Iowa had a stupid amount of draft picks this year.
They had 2 tight ends picked in the first round. How the hell do you do that?
That's a very Iowa sentence, by the way.
I know.
2 tight ends.
Surprised they didn't get a punter or kicker picked in the first round too.
I don't have the number here in front of me. I didn't pull it up, but I'm seriously watching that draft and I go, another player from Iowa. And look, Iowa, I think they won 8 or 9 games, but it's like, holy crap, they should have won the Big Ten.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I'd be mad if I was an Iowa fan. You had that much talent and what? What? Look, first of all, yeah, I know the Big 12 was 4th, only because the Pac-12 sucks. But there's only 10 teams. There's only 10 schools, so mathematically you've got, fewer chances. If you got 14 schools compared to 10, I hope you have more picks. But, of course, the SEC has substantially more, and the ACC also, and Big Ten's pretty damn good. The Big 12, in terms of NFL talent, is probably 4th best. Honestly, it probably is 4th best. This conference has to do a better job recruiting, and that includes Kansas State. That includes Oklahoma State. That includes a lot of programs that should and can get better players, but have been kind of, taking the back seat to lower SEC schools that Kentucky can come in and steal kids. No. All of a sudden, Kentucky's a good program in the SEC because they're stealing other programs' recruits that they should be getting. The Big 12 has to do a better job recruiting. The Big 12 has to be more competitive from top to bottom. I kind of feel like this is just like basketball with Kansas. Kansas is clearly getting the best talent. Kansas has been dominating the league, and now some people caught up to them. Maybe they came back a little bit, but Tech proved they were national title quality. So the same thing's got to happen in this conference. Unfortunately, if you're a K-State fan, probably Texas will be the team to catch Oklahoma. But I don't see any reason a Kansas State, an Iowa State, an Oklahoma State, a Texas Tech, a West Virginia can't enter that conversation on a regular basis. They just have to recruit a little bit better. We're not talking 5-star kids. Go get some 4 stars and go get some really good 3 stars. You look at the draft, and there's kids drafted from all star ratings. You enter college football as a boy and you leave a man, and that's a lot of difference. So your 3-star can be the number 1 draft pick if you do things right. So we'll see. I think the draft is pretty telling. But at the end of the day, you're a college football program. You're in charge of making people great college football players. And, if they go on to become NFL players, that's fine. But sometimes what makes a great college football player doesn't add up to the NFL. And my perfect example of that, I would take Will Gary any day, every day to be my nose tackle. And he had 0 chance at being in the NFL. That's it for the first half of the Powercat Podcast, sponsored by Fridge Wholesale Liquor. We will be back on the other side with more of this week's podcast from the WTC Gig Powered Studios.
The Powercat Podcast continues shortly.
I'm trying to get a group text in on what everybody wants on the liquor store run, but my phone keeps autocorrecting liquor store to the fridge.
A fridge or the fridge?
The fridge. It just did it again.
Well, the fridge is more than just a liquor store. The fridge has over 3,000 wines in stock, the area's largest selection of spirits and craft beers. Plus, they're back-to-back winners of Beverage Dynamics Retailer of the Year.
Oh, I get it. Wow, smartphone.
Autocorrect your next liquor store visit to the Fridge Wholesale Liquor, 1150 Westport in Manhattan. Online at fridgeliquor.com.
For more than 20 years, there's only been one reliable source for exclusive and unmatched premium K-State sports news content. It's GoPowercat.com. The tradition continues as Tim Fitzgerald, D. Scott Fritchen, and the other Go PowerCat sports experts continue their relentless coverage of K-State sports. So make sure you're subscribing to the one and only Go PowerCat. Hey, K-State fans, it's time to come home to GoPowerCat.com. We now return to the Powercat Podcast.
Welcome back to the Powercat Podcast. Man, we smoked through that first segment. That wasn't many questions, but that was a lot of wind.
We didn't smoke anything.
Oh, yeah, well, just get that.
I don't think our sponsors would like that.
Well, you get cigars at the Fridge Wholesale Liquor.
I did not set that up. That's amazing.
You get cigars there. Our buddy Toby, who's been doing a lot of the construction work, all of the construction work.
Who's helped a little?
I'm the painter, not a very good painter, and we've had other people come in. These guys have helped some. Mostly, they've been busy making a kick-ass website run day to day, which is very welcome. But Toby is a cigar guy. He gets all of his cigars there at the Fridge Wholesale Liquor. So stop into the fridge and see what they've got in their humidor. I like saying that word.
If you spend 50,
Humidor?
spend like $50 on cigars, you can get a free box of golf balls.
Which is really handy only if you're a golfer.
What kind of golf balls?
I forget.
So if you smoke
Are they
cigars
noodles?
and golf,
They're not noodles. They're actually named.
the fridge is your place.
I was thinking about it because I wouldn't consider myself a cigar smoker, but I enjoy smoking cigars. But it's like, do I really want to go buy it? And then I need the golf balls, but then I could just take the money and get some golf balls. I don't know. I'm at a very hard crossroads.
This is why Toby and I are good friends, because I can't do construction, but I can come up with the ideas and he can make it happen. I don't like to smoke cigars, but I like the smell of cigars, and he can do the smoking.
That's so weird.
Well, my dad doesn't. My dad likes the smell of coffee. Doesn't like coffee.
Now that's weird.
I would say that's very common.
I think that's common.
I don't like the smell of coffee at all.
He doesn't do it anymore, but he used to like brew coffee in a hotel room when we go places, and then just not drink it.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, that was weird. Thanks, Dad.
That's weird. The second segment is sponsored by the High-Low. Get into the High-Low. Best pizza in Aggieville. Say High-Low to Seth and everyone there. We didn't get into the High-Low today. We went to another Aggieville establishment, and it was very good.
It was.
It's very good. They had a special today that I'm going to dream about.
That I'm in love with. If you want to see it, go to my Twitter. It's a shameless plug.
Don't.
And click that follow button while you're there.
Now, that was a shameless plug. Here we go. Your questions from Wabash Station. Here's Zach Carlson from the WTC Gig Powered Studios.
From Wildcat Pilot 88, what's the talk of Hunter Rison following his court date?
There was no court date today.
I see.
I went to the courthouse.
Rising.
It's funny because that was his dad's name. I went to the courthouse. I sat down. I waited. And then Kellis Robinette came downstairs and told me the court date was moved. He was not in court today, and that has been rescheduled for June the 19th at 9 a.m. So it's just going to be delayed. And it's going to be exactly like Puka Williams, who was suspended in December, and today is May 1st, and we still have no solution. Now, this one's going to have to be done a little quicker, obviously, because you can't wait 5 months.
No.
But it's going to be drug out a bit. I would be surprised if we have any answers in terms of legality. Maybe Chris Kleiman just says, to hell with it, moving on. I doubt it, but I'd be surprised if we have any significant answers before the month of July.
My guess is the delay was they're doing some plea negotiating and trying to plea bargain it down to something else, like throwing a candy wrapper on the sidewalk. From what I know, it shouldn't be bled down very far. I mean, from what I've been told, maybe I've been told wrong, there should be some serious consequences for what took place. But we'll find out. We really don't know the facts of the case, and maybe the facts of the case don't point to what we've been led to believe. Never know.
From Purple Poncho via buy or sell, Hunter Eisen plays in a game in the 2019 season.
I'm going to sell that, and I'm going to sell it hard, because I think even if you do play it down at all, look, without trying to play the hypothetical game all that much, it's going to be tough to get out of this without, scot-free, because it sounds like it was some pretty rough stuff. And if there's anything, and Chris Kleiman keeps him on the team and plays him this year, that's going to be a lot of fire.
It'll be interesting. That's a tough one to take on, because it's not just some kid. It's a famous person's kid who has a bad reputation too. So, look, we don't know what happened at Michigan State, but he did depart after his freshman year, and you have to stop and wonder, did something off the field happen that he just was told to move on? So we don't know. We just don't know. If that comes to light, that this isn't the first time something like this happened, I really don't have much forgiveness for him at all. If it turns out to be true, I have zero forgiveness. If what we've heard's true, I want him nowhere near Manhattan, Kansas, and he should be behind bars. But we'll find out the facts of the case. And I think it's good that Chris Kleiman's only done the suspension now, because it's easy for us to sit here and say, put him away or let him play. Whatever you want your stand is. It's good that they're just going to wait and let it play out and see what happens.
From Canelio, after the 2019 season, we lose France and Kaltmeyer at offensive tackle. In your opinions, are there replacements currently on our roster, or are they still to be recruited?
Ooh, that's a good question, because you have to start to contemplate how is Connor Riley going to take some of these players and plug them in. Is this player a guard? Is this player a tackle?
See, that makes it almost impossible for us to answer.
I think certainly they're going to continue to recruit and look for those replacements, because I'm not saying that I don't feel comfortable with what they have on the roster. I think a guy like Katori Levinston is a really strong candidate. I think a guy like Christian Duffy could potentially play there. Those are just a couple quick names that come to mind. But I don't know as if that, A, they're going to play tackle. That's totally up to Connor Riley and Chris Kleiman. B, if they played guard or center or anything else, I don't know if I can look at the roster and say that I feel comfortable with one of those guys being one of the tackles.
Well, if they're not comfortable with what they have, does a Tyler Mitchell pop out to tackle like Cody Whitehair did? I don't know. Is he going to be a senior or is he a junior?
Tyler Mitchell's
a senior?
Now I'm blanking. I'm pretty sure he's a senior.
Oh, man. That went by fast.
Yeah.
Really? I thought he was going to be a junior.
Hold on. Just wait. Yeah, he's a senior. Wow. He will be a senior this year. That's what I thought.
Well, I just don't know. Someone might slide out and, it's hard. I really feel like I can't answer this question because I don't understand what Connor Riley's going to do. I'm too naive to the situation yet. How he's going to use his linemen, how he sees specific backups, and if, he would later tell you off the record, it's trash, I got to go get some guys.
Yeah, that first depth chart is going to be pretty telling, I think, because you're going to get an idea of the type of player he likes to put at tackle. And then you can start to look at it and kind of go, okay, does this guy fit the physical frame? Does this guy maybe have that go get him or aggressive tackle mantra attitude that you kind of need out of a tackle, I think. So let's just hold off, see who he puts out there, and kind of make decisions after that.
From Wildcat Wabash, Alex Barnes not getting drafted got me wondering, between the transfers and freshman running backs and the position of running back typically being one that's easier for young guys to grasp in the offense, is it feasible that there isn't a giant drop-off next year?
I think so. I mean, look, James Gilbert is not going to lead the Big 12 in rushing. I feel comfortable saying that.
Could, because nobody else runs the ball. All right,
Puka Williams is back.
That's
Likely back. Puka Williams is likely back. Let me say that.
Look, I respect the fact that Alex Barnes led the Big 12 in rushing, but most of the offenses in this conference want to throw the ball first.
It's fair.
So James Gilbert might, but I think they just tend to, if they don't have a definitive guy, they're going to use 3, 4, at least 2. They're going to really shuffle them in and out.
Look,
unless they got a guy, and I don't think they have a guy.
What we're looking at here, the way we continue to look at it, and we probably are at fault, fans are at fault as well, we continue to look at this and we say, who's going to replace Alex Barnes? How are they going to fill Alex Barnes' departure? And I get it. It would be nice to have Alex Barnes. But this is an entirely new system. These are entirely new coaches. Who's to say that a guy like James Gilbert, a guy like Harry Trotter, doesn't fit in equally as well or even better than how Alex Barnes would fit in the system? I don't know that. I can't definitively sit here and tell you that I've analyzed Chris Kleiman's running backs over the last 5 years, compared how this running back compares to Alex Barnes, this and that, and seen the type of running back that's going to fit better in his system. I can't tell you that, and I'm sorry. But I do think that you need to factor in a little bit the fact that it is a new offense under Kleiman. It is a new running backs coach in Brian Anderson. There's a lot of moving parts here. There's a lot of changes that would have gone on. And you cannot definitively say that just because they don't have Alex Barnes as the running back situation is going to be bad this year. I'm certainly not comfortable with it right now. Chris Kleiman obviously is not very comfortable with it right now. And he's going to wait and see what these freshmen can bring in when they get to campus. But it's something that I think you can be a little optimistic about. You don't have to be total doom and gloom. I think you could really look at it and say, well, right now we just don't know. So let's wait, let's give it a chance, and let's see how it plays out. And that's kind of where I'm at on it.
From Purple Powerhouse, of our incoming freshmen / newcomers on the basketball team, who has the best chance to make an impact right away?
Dejuan. The open-ended question still recruiting, but it's got to be Dejuan, right? Dude was the Chicago Sun-Times Player of the Year that countless NBA players have won. He can score the ball like crazy. He's a good defender. And I think he's the most ready. I certainly don't think Antonio Gordon's going to be there. I think Montavious Murphy could be, but it's a lot easier to step in as a guard in the Big 12 and make an impact than it is as a big man. And I think that he is the best athlete on the team in terms of freshmen. I think he's the best basketball player amongst the freshmen, and I think he's going to get the most opportunity, and I think he's going to make a splash.
Yeah.
I kind of did step on everything there.
I have nothing to add to that.
Yeah, it's not really a competition in my mind, unless they landed a graduate transfer here, which I don't think they're going to. But if they did that, maybe. But that Dejuan's going to be my answer for now.
From Purple Cheese, complete the following 2 thoughts. If Weber lands Demir and Grill, blank. And then if Weber misses on both Demir and Grill, blank.
If he lands both of them, obviously it's huge. Because you're going to get that immediate impact with the graduate transfer. And then with Grill, you're going to have a guy that I think can make an impact this coming season a little bit as a freshman. And it's going to... I don't want to compare him to Barry Brown and Kamau Stokes and Dean Wade, but he seems like that freshman that you could sign that kind of gets that ball rolling, and maybe in 2 or 3 years he's a stud and he really plays well. That's the perfect case scenario if you landed both of them, because you have a massive gap down low next year. Even returning McCall, you're not exactly excited about that, okay? So yeah, that's a perfect scenario. Second sentence, please.
If Weber misses on both Demir and Grill,
that's a disaster. I'm going to be blunt.
Disaster.
It's a disaster. That's more
likely than getting them both.
Yeah. that it really is. I think that they have a very good chance with Grill, and I don't think they have a very good chance with Mir. Go read my story. I think if you miss on both of them, how are you going to spin that? Try to spin that one for me if you miss on both of them. You let a graduate transfer get away to Minnesota, who I'm not saying it's a bad program, but I certainly think Kansas State is a better basketball program right now than Minnesota. And then you let an in-state kid, one of the best in-state kids in recent years, get away not once, but twice. And he would either get away to an in-conference foe in Iowa State, or he would get away to a far inferior program in UNLV who just fired their coach and had to bring in a coach from South Dakota State. If you can't sell a kid that's 3 hours down the road who is backed off and is desperate to sign somewhere right now, what the hell can you do?
That would be bad. They need to get him. They absolutely need to get him, in my book. I can't believe they're maybe in the process of striking out on big men transfers. We don't feel good about this. Maybe we're completely wrong. I don't know. I'm just a little surprised they're having these struggles. They went to the Elite Eight and then won the Big 12. Why the hell are they having these problems?
What more do you need to do?
And along those lines, last question of the second half from Purple Powerhouse. Why does the basketball staff routinely whiff on their most important recruiting targets?
That's a really good question.
Well, recruiting's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, you lose more battles than you win. Really, I mean, particularly if you're playing by the rules. We know it's a dirty business. It's being proven out in the courtrooms right now. It's just a dirty business. If you're playing by the rules, it makes it a lot more difficult. So I get it's a tough business, but they do miss out on a lot of guys. They miss out on some guys that you just scratch your head that they weren't more competitive with. As hard as they work, this is not a case of a staff not working hard enough on the recruiting trail. You could make that argument with football under Bill Snyder. He didn't want to put enough effort into those things. He just wanted to coach, and recruit, who we can get, and we'll coach them and be better. They work hard. Bruce Weber works extremely hard. My thought on the staff is there has not been a closer.
I was just getting ready to say that.
There's simply that guy in college that is a great opener and can get the girl to laugh and smile. He's not a closer. He never gets the dates. So that's the way I feel like they're always in the running, but something sexier comes along.
I think that there's two ways, and that was one of the points I was going to make is that, and I've said this before too, I think a lot of the times they waste their time on certain targets. I think you need to be after big targets, especially when you are a Power 5 program that's competing at a high level. So I'm not trying to criticize them for going after, let's say an E.J. Liddell this past summer. That was a very attainable recruit at a time. K-State was his only big offer for quite some time, and then he got on the AAU circuit, blew the hell up. Ohio State jumped in way later than everybody else and snatched him up. I think you need to know when you're beat. And sometimes I question if they know when they're. And I hate saying that because it makes me sound like I'm saying that K-State should just bow out. And I'm not saying that, but in certain situations, you got to know when you're out. They were never in for Jeremiah Robinson Earl. Okay, they weren't. They may have been friendly in. It was always going to be KU for so long, and then Villanova kind of came in the picture and got him. I think a lot of times they waste time on targets that they think they can get, that they have good relationships because they've known them for 5-6 years. And then when the prettier girl comes along, they walk away, and then they're left with the third and fourth options down the road. Again, it's a very tough line to toe, and so that's why I don't want to be too critical of recruiting, because if they weren't going after guys like EJ, Jeremiah Robinson Earl in their own backyard, we'd be criticizing them because they're not after them. But I think sometimes they waste a little bit too much time in those departments.
Recruiting's like anything else. You have a limited number of resources, be it man hours, energy, budget, visits, however you want to look at it. You have limited resources, and you have to decide how to allocate that. And I sometimes feel like this staff allocates it. We'll put a little here, a little there, a little here, a little there, a little here, a little there. Oh, wow, look at all these guys we've identified. And they're not really deep into the relationship. They haven't really built the bonds that seal the deal in recruiting. Someone else comes along and builds that bond very quickly, and it's over. K-State, based on its success under Bruce Weber, based on its home court venue, based on its tradition, should be able to seal the deal better than what's taking place. I think we can all agree on that. They just came off of a nice run with 3 seniors, only one of whom was really getting attention, being Dean Wade. He kind of jumped out at people, and the 2 guards were, attainable for K-State. They weren't 4-star guys. They weren't high 3-star guys. They developed into what they were, and that's great. That's great to find those guys, but you have to go out and find. Now, let's be fair here. Dejuan is a great get.
Holy crap, yeah.
That's a great get. And they closed that one. They did everything right there. Maybe there's something here we don't understand, but for now, it looks beautiful. It looks wonderful. And they picked that fight and won it.
Same with Murphy. The second they were in on Murphy, it was pretty much over.
So I think really it's just a matter of catching the clues and knowing, you know what, we're kind of out on this. We do run into this quite a bit where we'll check in on a kid and they'll say, we haven't heard from K-State. And the kid's not bad. It's just K-State's backed off, and clearly the kid wants to still talk to him, but it's not there. So I don't know, and that's an allocation of resources. They've allocated it somewhere else, but that's fine if you're allocating it into a battle that you think you know you can win, not just moving on and saying, I'm going to go watch this kid and 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 this kid, because I feel like that's what they do. I'm going to go to Dallas, I'm going to go to Phoenix, I'm going to Atlanta, I'm going to go to here. I'm just being visible now. I'm just out here. I'm in the room, but I'm not in the conversation.
How did Texas Tech make the Final Four this year? They went out and got some grad transfers that were freaking amazing, and they landed some excellent freshmen that developed into some pretty awesome players. Jarrett Culver.
Either Chris Beard or someone on that staff's a closer.
Right. If Texas Tech can do it with grad transfers, with freshmen, because everybody kind of has their own thing. Iowa State has really tapped into the transfer market a lot recently. You know what staffs specialize in what areas. It doesn't feel like K-State has that right now. And I'm only critical of it because you've seen in a very short amount of time Texas Tech do a little bit of both and become phenomenal. And I believe K-State can be there. I believe with the work that they put in, they should be able to be there. But if they're going to miss out on grad transfers from Drexel, and they're going to miss out on other high school seniors here and there, and it just feels like more often than not we're sitting here writing stories about how a kid went somewhere else instead of how he's coming to K-State next year.
I agree. I know where we're going. We're going into break right now. We're going into break, and on the other side we'll have the overtime. We'll have a little bit of fun. Is it fun?
Yeah, it's good. It's a good balance this week.
Okay, well, that's what we need. We need that. We need balance.
I was really pleased with the podcast questions for a May 1st podcast.
It is May 1st. I hope you're all enjoying May. It's been wonderful so far. It's been an incredible May. I think we can all agree on that.
It's been wet and cold.
It's been an amazing May so far.
Yeah.
And it's been an okay podcast. We'll be back on the Powercat Podcast, sponsored by Fridge Wholesale Liquor.
The gang will return with more of the Powercat Podcast.
I'm trying to get a group text in on what everybody wants on the liquor store run, but my phone keeps autocorrecting liquor store to the fridge.
A fridge or the fridge?
The fridge. It just did it again.
Well, the Fridge is more than just a liquor store. The Fridge has over 3,000 wines in stock, the area's largest selection of spirits and craft beers. Plus, they're back-to-back winners of Beverage Dynamics Retailer of the Year.
Oh, I get it. Wow, smartphone.
Autocorrect your next liquor store visit to the Fridge Wholesale Liquor, 1150 Westport in Manhattan. Online at fridgeliquor.com.
For more than 20 years, there's only been one reliable source for exclusive and unmatched premium K-State sports news content. It's GoPowercat.com. The tradition continues as Tim Fitzgerald, D. Scott Fritchen, and the other Go PowerCat sports experts continue their relentless coverage of K-State sports. So make sure you're subscribing to the one and only Go PowerCat. Hey, K-State fans, it's time to come home to GoPowerCat.com. Back to Fitz on the Powercat Podcast, sponsored by Fridge Wholesale Liquor.
It's the Powercat Podcast, powering into the overtime. First half's done, second half's done. Now it's the overtime. We're sponsored by Fridge Wholesale Liquor. Get into the fridge, say hi to everyone. I meant to reserve a keg for our open house on Friday, and I forgot to.
Let's be real. If we'd have reserved a keg, well, we would have had so many people here.
Well, here's what would have happened. We reserved a keg, and 3/4 of it, no matter what size keg we got, we get a full keg, half keg, one of those third kegs, no matter, 3/4 of it would have gone home with one of you guys.
Me.
Not me.
I would have fought you on that.
Oh, this is the Powercat Podcast from the WTC Gig Powered Studios. We are happy to be here as May starts, and we see no end in sight. You bring the questions for the podcast, we will continue. Once we feel like, hey, all of our people have moved on to the summer, and they're doing things with their family, and they're outside. They're getting a tan. They're taking vacations. They're living their best lives. We will take a pause.
I hate that phrase so much.
Living my best life.
Just living my best life. Living their best life.
No, you went to the lake today, okay?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
You didn't
Cool,
win the
you ate
damn lottery.
Chick-fil-A today.
You ate Chick-fil-A today.
Well, that is a pretty good life right there.
Yeah, that's a life I want to live. That's a life I did live last summer.
There's no better way to live a good life than through Christian chicken.
Christian chicken.
Churches?
Never put that together. I'll be darned. Here we go. It's the final segment of the Powercat Podcast. It's called The Overtime. You ask, we answer. Here's Zach.
From KSU Cat 80, what is your favorite breed of dog and why?
I feel like you left this in for me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, when I get out of college, I grew up with Schnauzers, which are German dogs. So they're really cool dogs. And when I got out of college, I got a Scottish Terrier at a pet store, and I feel bad about it, but she was an awesome dog. And from that point on, we did rescues or breeders, actual breeders,
Not a puppy mill?
not a puppy mill. So we're currently on our 9th Scottish Terrier. We've had as a couple.
So many dogs.
Yeah, no, they come and go, man. But Darla will be our last. A number of years ago, my wife said there's a dog at the Manhattan animal shelter I think we need to go look at. And it was a standard poodle. And I remember my immediate reaction is, I'm not going to own a standard poodle. So we went and met him, and it was amazing. And I want no other breed. There's a reason why everyone breeds labs or goldens or all kinds of dogs with standard poodles. They're trying to macho them up, but standards are pretty damn awesome. So we're on our 3rd standard. We'll eventually get, we've got a female named Daphne. So we got 2 women that are dogs and 1 woman in my house that's a fox. That's my wife, by the way. And then there's me, and I have no prostate, so I'm kind of in the middle ground.
That just took a left turn.
Yeah, so that just went way off the rails. So we're going to get a boy standard here pretty soon, eventually. Please email my wife and say she needs to vote yes. I keep losing votes in our house 1-1. And that's really what it's like to be married. It's a democracy, but men, you do lose a lot of votes 1-1.
You and Becky had a disagreement, so you met in the middle and you didn't get the dog.
Right, exactly. That's how this works. That's how a good marriage works. But yeah, standard poodles are awesome. They're intelligent. They're funny. Daphne, I laugh at Daphne every day. She does funny stuff. She's just a fun dog.
My parents have a miniature Schnauzer. I guess I lived with it for 2-3 years. I mean, I don't live at home anymore, but 2-3 years. I had a miniature Schnauzer, I guess. I love him. Half the time I want to throw him across the living room, but that's how I feel. If I could pick any dog in the world, I would pick a Boston Terrier. Those things are awesome.
I would pick a Brittany or a Golden Retriever. Those would probably be my picks. We owned a golden retriever for 24 hours, and my mom said... 24 hours? My mom said, nope. Nope. Well, it's gone.
At least you didn't let it,
I got to admit, Goldens are amazing dogs, and when you get a good cross between a Golden and a Poodle, those Golden Doodles, there's one two doors up from us. He is hysterical. He's awesome.
Anything Doodle is adorable.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily. You see the adorable ones, but there's a lot of Doodles out there that look like a Lab or a Golden, and not the ones that are adorable look like the Poodle with a little mix in. And that's the truth, because they're breeding them for the hair, because poodles have hair, so they're hypoallergenic. So you want the hair and you kind of want the personality, but Goldens have such great personality you can't lose.
I just thought of a terrible idea.
What?
A Rottweiler Doodle.
I don't know how that would manifest itself. They breed some really weird things. Like my sister's into Bernese Mountain Dogs. I mean, she's been a professional breeder. She shows them. She's a handler, and now they're doing burner doodles. And I'm like, that just seems slutty. That's just so. For the record, we don't do the foo-foo cuts. We do what's called a German cut, because they actually were German hunting dogs. People don't know that about poodles. They're actually water retrievers by nature. And then the French got a hold of them and screwed them up.
From Wildcat Pilot 88, should I stop watching Game of Thrones, currently on season 4? All the good characters keep getting murdered by all the awful ones, and nothing good ever seems to happen.
That's life. That's what's amazing about the show. Every time you're like, oh, this show's about him. Dead. This show's about dead. I mean, it's just incredible, because you have spent the whole time wondering who is the protagonist in this show. What is this show about? But just like life, it keeps moving forward. Awkwardly, violently, it's set in a violent time, and it's just amazing to watch the storytelling unfold. And finally, as we get to the end of the show, we're beginning to understand who the protagonists are, and it's amazing.
Is it ending soon?
3 more episodes.
And then it's done. Like, there's no more seasons.
Wait, how many episodes were there this season?
6.
Oh, man. That's not very many.
Yeah, 6. It's a short season, but like the big battle episode was hour and 20 minutes.
Damn.
So they're doing 6 episodes, but it's like, I think the runtime is going to be equivalent of 7 or 8 episodes. So, but it's amazing storytelling. That the problem with it is, at this point, they've passed the books. So now the writer is kind of sharing the plot lines, but some of the subtle things that go on are being changed by the writers. So.
From KSU Cat 2010, Fitz, as you have no hair, whose hair would you rather have on your head, Dean Wade or Wyatt Hubert's?
Oh, Wyatt Hubert.
Yeah, it's not even a.
Well, plus I'd
question.
like his arms too.
Basically, just his whole body. He wants to be Wyatt Hubert.
Oh my God! I'm going to start calling him Thor. It's ridiculous.
Dean Wade has some very underrated hair though, because like when he gets it cut, it looks pretty good.
I didn't really pay attention to Dean's hair.
Well, he's the traditional. He's kind of like me. Lets his hair grow for a really long time, and then when it kind of gets pretty a little bit out of hand, then he gets it cut. He doesn't get it cut like every week or so to keep it in style.
He evolved from freshman year to senior year on his hairstyle.
Don't we all? I think
makes a point.
I wish you'd added Cardi Jot in there. I think I'd rock that. So.
Hell no. I'm sorry. There are 2 people on this team that Mike McGurl, I can't stand to look at his hair. It's awful. It is awful.
You're just glad he played well, or else you would have cussed him out.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that quote. And then Cartier is fine. It's so many different things. It's a ponytail. It's dreadlocks. It's a mop head. I don't know. It's just crazy.
I am not going to complain about anyone with hair, what they do with it. It's their hair. It's like money. I'm impoverished in the hair department, and so it's not my place to tell someone with more money how to spend it. And that's how they do their hair. Right? Okay.
Right. From Adam K63, what is more surprising, Alex Barnes not getting drafted or Nebraska not having a draft pick for the first time in 57 years?
You got to go with Nebraska, right? And not even just because of the streak.
I'm sorry.
I think that's a copyright song.
Not the way I'm doing it.
Fair enough. It's got to be Nebraska. K-State's been bad before and had a draft pick.
I was not surprised Alex Barnes wasn't drafted. I thought he would go in the 6th or 7th round, but was I surprised he didn't? No. It wasn't.
No. And it's just that in general. The fact that Nebraska's streak was snapped. So many bad teams have players drafted because I can't even do this. The shot of having at least one NFL caliber player in 254 picks. It's a very good chance. Okay? You don't have that comes off wrong. You have to be a good player. You don't have to be Kyler Murray to get taken in the NFL draft.
Hey, look, it's Nebraska. I don't care what the previous coach did, that he underperformed, he under-recruited. You're still freaking Nebraska. You were still getting 4-star players. And set all that aside, Utah State had 2 guys drafted, right? I mean, there's just people out there getting drafted. Washburn had someone drafted.
Carson Wentz was a 4th-round pick. Or Carson Wentz, Easton Stick.
Come on.
Was he 4th? I thought he was 6th.
Was it 6th?
Maybe he was 4th.
Oh, crap. Maybe it was 6th. I don't know. I'm sorry. If I got that wrong, I'm sorry.
What I know is I missed it, and then I saw Ross tweet about it later, and I'm like, oh, I didn't think he got picked. I just totally missed it.
It's weird because I watched him get picked, but now I can't remember.
I'm looking.
Okay.
My goodness.
Well, it's going to be a good fit, by the way. Dude's going to.
He was drafted not in the 4th round. He was not drafted in the 6th round. He was drafted in the 5th round.
I'll meet you in the middle.
Oh, we were right.
That dude's going to play, by the way. He's going to learn under Phillip Rivers for a few years. Phillip's going to call it a career. Enter Easton Stick.
It's going to teach him how to trash talk without cussing.
And have 90 children.
And whine to the officials about everything.
I hate that he went to the Chargers, man. I wanted to cheer for him. Yeah. I hate the Chargers.
They're in the division.
Yeah, I hate them.
Okay, here's the thing. If you're Ross Uglum, just now think about it. You are a North Dakota State guy. You love yourself some Bison. You will be able to go see him play every year in Vegas.
That sounds dangerous for Ross.
Yeah, he likes Vegas.
Okay. From Canelio, do you guys see Byron Pringle getting a real shot at joining the rotation at wide receiver for the Chiefs this upcoming season?
Assuming the Chiefs do the humanly thing that they should do and cut Tyreek Hill, yes. Sorry, I had to get that jab.
No, I agree with you on that. Again, that's another situation. Let's wait for the information to come out.
Let's not. Just cut him now.
And then the
we're going to be
information
hypocritical. Okay.
kind of came out, and then there it was.
No,
he is on tape talking about.
I'm going to go ahead and say that let's not wait for this to play out, and let's cut him 2 weeks ago. Not 2 weeks, but whenever the second that audio came out, he should have been cut.
Well, what they're doing is they're maneuvering the roster spot. That's all they're doing.
I get it.
They're looking for an exemption.
I think they can make a good name for themselves by cutting him right now.
Yeah, it's a business.
And it'll cost them money if they cut him now.
Yeah, that's another thing. He doesn't deserve a freaking dime.
No.
If they cut him, they pay him.
That's fair. But yes, if they cut Tyreek Hill, I think Byron will get in there. I think Byron will get in there a good chance anyways, but
they loved him. He's got to stay healthy. They loved him last year, and it was an unfortunate injury, but I think it's going to work out fine. Now he's got a little bit better opportunity. He's going to be more comfortable in camp. Hopefully he's healthy. We'll see what happens.
Also from Canelio, in your opinion, who are the top 5 college football coaches of all time?
Do we need to do it in order? Because I don't know if I necessarily want to do it in order.
I don't even know if I can do this.
I mean, Nick Saban
without a list.
Nick Saban and Bear Bryant are going to be on there.
Bo Schembechler,
Newt Rockne.
See, there's just different eras. It's so hard.
It's very tough because it's like you look at Alabama and you're like, okay, well, they definitely have 2. And you can look at Notre Dame, you could be like, well, they probably have 1, if not 2.
Well, and you got to define.
I was just getting ready to say, Dabo Swinney's about to make his way onto that.
You got to define what makes a great coach. Is a great coach just winning national championships because you're at a huge advantage if you're at Alabama or Oklahoma or Nebraska back in the day, or Ohio State or Michigan or USC, UCLA. Go down the list, you're at a big advantage. But does that make you a better coach, more successful? I mean, you've got to argue in terms of just great coaches. Bill Snyder's got to be in there.
Yeah.
He raised the dead.
It's tough to keep him out of the top 5. And I know that everybody else outside of the state would keep him outside of the top 5.
I don't agree with that.
I
I think there's a lot of people out there who know exactly the context.
think the smart people won.
The problem is too many people are talking about college football that are doing it as a flyover at the moment and not understanding the historical significance of what he accomplished.
There's too many Jesse Palmers on ESPN.
Oh, he's so pretty.
I hate Jesse Palmer.
Why?
He just makes me mad. I want to hit him.
But he was The Bachelor.
That's where I'm going. Is this about football or The Bachelor?
It's not even about football.
Yeah.
I think it's just I watch him on TV talking about college football, and I'm like, God.
But have you seen him on DailyMail.com doing other stupid updates?
No, because you're the only person in the world that I know that uses that.
From I Like Pickles Cat. How do you grade Pete Hughes thus far?
Well, first off, it's very, very early in the tenure to deliver a grade.
Is he doing better in the conference than I expected? Hell yes.
Yeah. You got to take it with a grain of salt because they've been very hot recently. We had the stories about them. But they also had a massive losing streak earlier in the year. And they have a winning percentage of 46.7 right now. They're on the right track, absolutely. It seems like he's the man for the job right now. But in 2 to 3 years, does he still have it on the right trajectory? Or are they still in the bottom tier of the conference? Because if we're just playing here to get back to Oklahoma City and play in the Big 12 tournament, that's not where you need to be. I'm not saying you need to be in Omaha every year, but you need to be back to roughly where you were in 13.
Yeah, you need to be back contending for a spot in the tournament and fighting to get to Omaha. I'm with you. I think some people set their expectations too high. We need to be winning the Big 12 every year. Some people set them too low. Oh, I'm just fine with a winning record, But you should, in your good years, you should be competing at a really high level, and that includes baseball. Either do it or don't do it. Either strive to be good in baseball or drop the damn sport and move on to men's soccer. I mean,
the whole conference has to go to soccer, but I digress.
You're the farthest. You and Kansas, the two northernmost teams. Iowa State wisely dropped it because they're in the snow belt. But you can argue that K-State and KU are at a big disadvantage because they're just far enough north where it makes a difference in the weather in the spring.
Build a dome.
Build a dome. That's actually Zach's solution for everything.
Wouldn't have to bring rain gear anymore.
Wish they had Whataburger won't come here. Well, build a dome.
God.
Zach, that makes no sense. Well, I'll build a dome. It'll make sense. But yeah, just either do it or don't. I think it's going to be okay. Is okay good enough? Always come back to this. In the year where K-State had all the great success under Brad Hill, Pete Hughes was at Oklahoma and had a worse record. Ouch.
Also, from I Like Pickles Cat, this is kind of not a sports question at all. When you get a friend request or suggestion on Facebook, how do you decide whether to add that person or not?
I like how you you started that question. Well, this isn't a sports question at all, as if the overtime is about.
No,
sports.
I mean we literally talked about sports. Like it was such a complete.
Gotcha.
It was a complete 180.
I have a pretty simple system for this, actually. First off, you got to look at mutual friends because half the time I don't know who's adding me.
Right.
All right, who's the mutual friends? Is it my friends from Hayes? Is it my parents? Like where are they from? Okay. If I have a familiar, I know who they're talking to. I know how they might be wanting to add me. Am I going to see this person in the next, 6 months, a year, whatever? Is there ever going to be a time where I feel the need to speak with them that I feel like, do I feel like they need to see what I'm doing with my life on Facebook? Yes or no? And if the answer to that is no, usually it's a delete the request, but just play with it. Am I going to see them to a point where I'm going to have a conversation with them and this could potentially come up like, hey, why don't you accept me on Facebook? I'll probably accept them then. But there's a lot of times where people from back home in the area, they meet my parents maybe, or one of them works with my dad or something like that, and they add me, and I'm like, I don't know you. My dad barely knows you. Delete. would say I'm decently rigorous with my Facebook.
Diligent.
friending. Yeah. I took about 45 minutes one day in the Union last year and wiped out so many Facebook friends.
Yeah, I've done that too. How about you?
I mean, it's mostly, do I know this person? Yes or no? But also, well,
Zach has to get on Facebook
Hang on. I do have to log into Facebook, and even if I do and I see friend requests there, half the time I'll ignore them because it gives me an excuse saying I didn't see it. I don't get on Facebook. I really don't get on Facebook that much.
You know, for me, social media is all different. Twitter is obviously wide open.
Yeah.
I'm bizarre.
But like Facebook, like there became a point in my life where I was getting on Facebook every day, and I would, scroll through my news feed, when it was pretty much in order. There wasn't really an algorithm. And I was just miserable. I hated seeing all these stupid updates from people from high school that are single mothers with kids that are trying to sell Herbalife or whatever. Like, it was just like, I'm sick of this. Delete. And I just stopped logging on. I was like, my life was so much better when I stopped caring about people that I didn't care about.
That's why I don't post my story. If I have a breaking news story or like I do something that I'm pretty proud of, I'll post it on Facebook. I don't post every story I write on Facebook. I post updates, I post pictures, whatever. That's it.
Like if I don't know you personally or I don't know of you, like if it's someone that I know of and I've, I'm familiar with them, like a public figure, or someone, like, I don't know, if like Chris Lilly before I met him, but like he knew who I was, added me on Facebook just as an example.
Oh, yeah, so lucky.
I would accept that, but yeah. What's funny is like I would like back when I first got Facebook when I was in high school, I'd request like K-State like student athletes, right. And I'd be friends. So like I think I'm friends with like Tim Rayer and just like people from like like an old era, just random
friends with Joe
random
Bob.
people.
Yeah, but look, Twitter is what Twitter for me. I mean, it's the life of Fitz. It's what I tweet about my life, work, illness, drinking, whatever's on my mind, I'll tweet about that, and it gets a little random and weird. Instagram for me is photos of my dogs, my gardening, and my bar at home.
Your dog's from the same angle every
so
time.
So true.
From this chair that,
yes.
Yeah.
Well, here's the dogs.
Oh, those are the sweatpants Fitz is wearing today.
Yep. But Facebook's evolved for me. It used to be kind of my private area where I put private thoughts, non-sports thoughts, and share that with my closed friends, and I was a little more selective. Now I've made my Facebook public because I talk about my cancer a lot, and so I get more requests there. But I'm still like, do I have a connection with you? A good way to be rejected by me on Facebook is I feel like you're just requesting me because of who I am. I look at your friends and I see, oh, student athlete, coach. You just requested me because I cover K-State sports. Mm-hmm. No, man. No. I'm not a K-State information prostitute. Don't come knocking on my door. I'm on Facebook, and to me, Facebook's personal.
Yeah.
Twitter's work. Twitter's fun. Twitter's personal. Instagram's totally personal. Facebook's personal. Even though I've opened it up publicly because I want people to hear my message about cancer. Still, we got to have a connection. You're much better off if that connection is interested in cancer or anything else. But if you're interested solely about K-State sports, man, get on Twitter. Get on my damn website.
Yeah, I'm going to put way more stuff on the site and on Twitter than I am on Facebook. And it's not, look, if you're going to add me on Facebook because of who we are, like what I do, I'm not declining you because I'm a dick. Like I'm declining you because I don't know you. You're just a fan. You're just a reader. Right. And I appreciate your readership. Absolutely, but I don't want to be your Facebook friend if I don't know.
Well, let me be honest. I mean, if I've had a relationship with someone on the message boards and I know who they are and they request me, hell yeah. I accept it. But if you're on the message boards and I don't know you and you're just, I don't post about K-State sports. I rarely do on Facebook. That's not why I'm on Facebook. I've got other avenues for that. Got other purposes. Once in a while, if we have a sale, if we've got something significant, if I've written something I really like, yeah, I'll put it on there. But for the most part, it's about my life. It's about my cancer. It's about my marriage. It's about my family. And it's about my friends. And it used to be about my politics, but now Facebook's turned into such an ugly place that I don't even touch any of that anymore. I don't want any of that in my life. I got better things to do with my life than be called names.
Bingo.
So, yeah, that was a long
Damn,
answer.
we went running with that.
We got deep.
That's the best question, I guess.
That was a really good one.
Next question's from Wildcat Will 41. Riley and Zach, huh?
He had 3 questions at the start. Hey, those headphones are expensive.
Those are broken too, like the ones I used to have.
Sorry.
Riley and Zach, what is the best golf course you have ever played?
The Beloit National.
Beloit National. Probably Headwaters at Granby Ranch in Colorado.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, we went out there.
That's a good setting.
Yeah, it really was. That or Colbert. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I haven't played tons of. I haven't gone out and done enough of that, and I need to do a better job in the summer of that. Maybe this summer, maybe next summer, whatever. Getting to places like trying to get on Prairie Dunes if I could get there.
If any of our listeners out there are members at Prairie Dunes and want to hook us up,
That'd be great.
we'd love to play that course.
You know where everything we just said about Facebook. If you want a fanboy on these two clowns and take them out for golf, go for it. They want to be on that golf course.
No, Kansas City. I've never played golf in Kansas City, which is ridiculous because when I lived in Kansas City for my internship, there were 3 golf courses within 5 minutes of me, and I just never took the damn time to play.
You know what's funny? I don't think I've ever played in Kansas City either.
Yeah, so I need to get out there. I just need to do more things now. It's about doing it for me. So probably Headwaters or Colbert.
For me, it's stadium course at TPC Scottsdale. Played that last.
Well, that takes the cake.
Last fall. That was fun. So easily the nicest course, but around here, honestly, I'd put Colbert third behind Firekeeper and Sand Creek Station. As far as public courses in Kansas that I've played, I'd rather play either of those 2 before I played Colbert, but I mean, all of them are nice. I can't really think of anything outside of the state of Kansas that I've played that I would count as being nice. And then after that, I think about golf tournaments I've been to, like what courses I've been on but weren't really playing, like Oak Tree in Edmond or Southern Hills in Tulsa, Belle Reve last year for the PGA in St. Louis. About to go to Bethpage, but I haven't played any of them, so I don't.
I'm going to Pebble Beach this summer, but I'm not playing.
Yeah.
So if you want to throw that in there, but no. Did you see Brent Mayock?
Mm-hmm.
He played Augusta, so that's cool.
Nice.
I don't know how he pulled that one off. I was looking for the story here, but because I think he wrote a story about it, but that's cool.
Augusta, Kansas?
Yes, Augusta, Kansas.
Wait, so, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar.
From the Peak Capital Journal.
Did he cover the Masters for?
No, he played it.
No, I know. What I'm saying
I don't
is,
know if he covered it.
Like, because if you're part of the media, I think on Monday there's like a limited number of tee times that there's like a media lottery. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe he did. I don't know.
Which would make sense with Gary Woodland being from Topeka.
Yeah, maybe he did. I'll have to go look. I don't know if he
it might
covered
be.
it or not.
Tiger's from Manhattan. I should go.
He's not.
Oh, I'm just saying he is.
I mean, sure. So he was here, probably, right?
He's been here.
We can assume that he was here.
My favorite conspiracy is like when he was laying low after his like incident in 08, that he was, or 09, I don't remember which year it was, what year it was, but he was laying low here.
Bull crap. He was not here. No way. Who has that conspiracy theory?
Well, and
Is
then,
that you and Tyler?
No,
Did you and Tyler take that one up?
No, my mom said she was at Panera once, and the soldier like was waiting, like he'd wait at Panera because like any soldiers that got arrested or whatever, like they go to the RCPD, right next door, and he said, he just sits there and waits, and I don't know how they talked about Tiger Woods, but he's like, yeah, he comes here all the time, and like he'll go out and play. They've taken it out of Fort Riley, but he'd go and play Custer Hill or something. Like they'd shut it down. If you saw 2 cars in the parking lot or whatever, it was like the pro and Tiger Woods playing golf. I don't
see that
completely
has some
unfounded
backing to it.
Completely unfounded, but it's a conspiracy theory that I want to believe that's true. And that there's people in here that like will cover for him Like if he's in the area, like he hangs out with, like he has contacts in the area that he just hangs out with. I guess.
If I find out whether it's in the next 3 years, the next 10 years, in 40 years, and Tiger Woods is dead, if I find out that he's been spending time in Manhattan, Kansas, and I never get to shake his hand or something, I'm gonna be so pissed off. Like, so many levels of pissed. I'll be so mad.
I got to give it. A lot of celebrities come through Manhattan. Either they land at the airport for refueling or they do spend time here. I got to give it to the people at the airport. I mean, with social media, you just don't hear about it. They do. They're professional about it.
A lot of people go through Salina too.
Yeah,
as far as like refueling, it's
I know Jay Leno passes through Salina a lot.
Well, they don't have social media there.
Yeah, they don't. They don't even have the internet in Salina. I know that because I've been to Salina.
I felt comfortable making that joke because he was here.
I grew up in Salina, and I can tell you as a fact, when I was in Salina, we did not have the internet.
Yeah, well, there's no proof of internet right now. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think they ever got it. I think it just
let me reiterate, that is not fact. Don't take that as a factual story from me, but I like to believe it, and you can believe it too.
One day I'm going to get in a setting where I'm interviewing Tiger Woods, and I will ask him off the record, do you come to Manhattan?
Hey, man, have you played any courses around here?
Just question.
Last question is from Infected Testicle. I didn't pause that time.
Yeah.
By the way, there was a buy or sell, does Infected Testicle get a question on the podcast? So buy.
Once a year, I take a vacation somewhere that I've never been before. Is there anywhere any of you have been that you highly recommend?
Yeah, go to the damn doctor. You got an infected
Oh, we should have ended it on that.
Look, we go to Vegas all the time. Oh, I haven't been in a few years. But one time, it was for our 25th anniversary. We spent 8 days in Vegas, my wife and I, which is insane. But the first 4 days, we did touristy things. And one of them was we took a day tour up to Mount Zion National Park in Utah, or over, whatever the arrangement would be. And I can't think of the name of the other park that was right there.
Bryce Canyon?
Bryce Canyon. Thank you very much. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, there were some like hotels on the edge of, they look like nicely fixed up 60s hotels, the scattered buildings. It would be a great place if you're into hiking or something. It was unbelievable. It was out of this world. You're like, we're still on Earth? Really? Places look like this.
If you're a beach person, you can go to like all the big cities or whatever, but like we went to Emerald Isle, North Carolina, because my cousins have like a beach house out there, and it was really cool because it's like you're at the ocean, but it's in like it's kind of like a small town, and so it's not like this big. You're not in Orlando or whatever. I don't know what cities in Florida are on the coast. Is Orlando on the coast?
No. It's dead center.
I'm sorry, but whatever like cities are kind of out there along the coast and they're kind of bigger. Emerald Isle isn't, so that's a fine one. However, we went to Puerto Vallarta this past summer, and it was like a big family thing, so like it's not necessarily something you should do by yourself. I don't know if you're going by yourself or not, but like it's perfect for me because like when we go to the lake and stuff, my mom's always like, oh, you want to ski? You want a tube? No, I want to sit in the water and have a beer and do nothing all day. And that's exactly what I did in Mexico for about 6 days this year is I drank and sat in a pool, and it was amazing. So something like that.
And then smuggled a brick of cocaine back in your bowels.
I'll go with the Boundary Waters in Minnesota.
Yeah. I'd like to do that. Up
north, if you're a canoe or a kayaker, you can, you can take anywhere from like a 3-day expedition to a 10-day expedition and do, 70 miles or something if you want. But it's really beautiful. There's most of the lakes you can't drive a boat in. It's peaceful. You can fish. You can do whatever.
We weren't given the parameters of what you want to accomplish on your vacation.
Yeah, come on, man.
One of my things I tell young couples is you got to learn how the other person fights, and you got to learn how the other person vacations. If you can get in sync on those things, you're going to be good. Like my wife and I, we're getting ready to go to Hawaii. We've never been. We decided with everything going on, we're going to go. So just 2 weeks out, we're going to Hawaii. The first 4 days in Honolulu, we're going to be tourists. We're going to run around, do this bunch of stuff. And the last 7 days, we're going to the Big Island, staying at a really nice resort, and we're going to chill. We'll do some touristy things, but we're going to chill. Because she's a goer and doer and seer, and I'm a lazy dude. You might notice that about me.
It's the best kind of vacation.
But so we don't have the parameters of what he's looking for. Maybe he's
I don't know.
Maybe he's
What does he
an
wanna
adventure
do?
person and wants to go do that. Maybe he wants to go to Napa Valley and drink a bunch of wine. I don't. I have no interest in that, no matter how beautiful the scenery is. If I had to tell you one place to go, if you really want to have fun and possibly actually get an infected testicle, go to Key West. It is the ultimate adult Aggieville.
Wow.
It is unbelievable.
I will
It
be
is
booking my
Aggieville.
ticket.
It is Aggieville on Fake Patty's Day, but for 50-year-olds.
And year round?
Pretty much. I've had a knack for always going during the Pride Week.
Okay.
It's, and it's fine. It's still fun. It's a blast. You got to be careful about this. There's a strip joint right there on Duval Street, and my buddy started in one time, and I'm going, Pat, that stripper has a penis. I can see the shadow of it from here. You need want to turn around and leave. But maybe he didn't. I don't go. I'm not here to judge him. Maybe Pat's into that.
Wow.
It's good for him. It's a blast. It's a blast. There's other places in Florida. I'm Floridian by birth that I love. But so if you want to chill and be outdoors, I say Utah, the national parks. If you want to go have fun, go to Key West.
So you're a chill vacation. You want to go somewhere and do nothing.
Right.
Are you the same way?
Yeah.
Well, I
like
wanna
to see
do
big
something.
cities, but at the end of the day, yeah, like
Yeah, you can't. If you're going in this, Chicago is pretty damn awesome.
it is. Like I didn't want to say Chicago because I think everybody in the world has been to Chicago.
Some people might just think Chicago's a big city. Downtown Chicago.
Chicago's amazing. If you haven't been to Chicago, that's my answer. Go to Chicago.
I love Chicago.
See, I can't go somewhere and just know that I'm going to sit there. Like if we're going to rent a house or, whatever and just sit there, I can sit on my butt at home. I want to get out and do things, try new things.
I don't want to sit my butt in a hotel room. I want to sit on my butt by a pool, by an ocean.
If you had like a swim up bar and a pool, would you do that?
Probably not.
Okay, this
suck.
This is awesome. You two are going to go on vacation with Becky and I. Zach, you're going to do stuff with my wife. You're going to go see stuff.
Cool.
And Riley and I will get drunk.
Hell yeah.
When we went to Steamboat Springs one time, and first of all, I'm at altitude, and so it takes me a while to acclimate. And it was unseasonably warm that August in Steamboat. It was 90, and it was 70 in Kansas. I'm still bitter. I'm bitter. It's 15 years later. Becky walked around and saw all the springs, because there's actually different springs around Steamboat Springs. I'm like, really? That's great. I'll be here, looking at the scenery, reading a book.
It's amazing that you got away with that.
Yeah, now, as you guys have found out around the office, if I don't want to do something,
It's not getting done.
it's not getting done. Because you know why? I feel the cancer kicking up. It's really it's beginning to get to me a little bit today. Sorry, honey, I can't take the trash out. That's it for the Powercat Podcast. We'll be back next week, I think.
Why not? Why
I
not?
won't be back the week after that because I will be in Hawaii. I want you to envision me in a Speedo with flowers around my neck.
Powercat Podcast. All rights reserved. GoPowercat.com and Spirit Street Publishing.